my last one when I was playing with Charlie and Susanna.
Yeah, it's all
So
good. It's all good. I'll drop the names. You can also leave any notes like the others if there's anything you want to say, just anything you want me to focus on a little bit more, or just in general. Maybe you want more feedback on something specific. Let me know, because those
uh,
replays are really short. I'm just trying to sneak in as much value as possible.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
recording is up. Yep.
because I know that because I know that Charlie. Well, mainly Sam, because I know Sam was saying it's like I shouldn't really focus all that much more all that much on my aim, which granted he's right. It's just more the fact that for me, it's just kind of a reminder to me that I just need to continue on my thing when it comes to Kovacs.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. To be honest with you, aiming can be broken down on multiple parts. The first part is the most important, your effective practice, just how effectively you're practicing, what you're doing exactly, your schedule, taking breaks, yeah, maybe you get enough sleep, how many games you sneak in, what kind of modes you play on as well and such. But and the other is just decisions, positioning, and also your understanding of tempo, because if you understand where the enemy is and maybe you position correctly, you understand the tempo of the fight, you can also place your crosshair accordingly. To be honest, in hero shooters, one of the most important things, so I always suggest make sure you solve that first, and later on you can also pay attention to your mechanics. But yeah, it's just one of the variables if you're thinking, broken down all the mechanics
Hmm
part. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else? I'm gonna open
Usage.
up the
There we
chat.
go.
I think we're good to start. We will
I've
start.
put it in
Let's.
GM.
Oh, you put it in GM? Okay, there's gonna be last one. The last one,
There
and
is another one in bronze too.
that's okay. That's okay. Let's put just 2 more names and we're good. Okay, here we go, and one more. Should be all good. Okay, let's make sure the names are not disappearing. You will spin the wheel, click to spin. Let's do it. Here we got.
What is the wheel for?
It's picking
Suspense.
the review.
Oh.
Fans.
Okay,
Please land on solar, bro. I
we
need to start
got
using it.
funds, and now let's find the code. Let's find just where they are. Okay, I got the notes for anyone if you guys want to read it. Rank Diamond 2, Heroes played Hala, Star-Lord, Magic, and the map is Hall of Jada. End result is win. There are no specific notes. So what I will be doing is, because our previous topic of masterclass has been how to get better game sense. If you guys watched the masterclass before, we did talk a lot about just how to predict where the enemy is gonna be, also kind of scouting information maybe. So if there's anything I can notice within that scene, that would be perfect. By the way, all the masterclasses you can find in Class and Drills, and this has basically been our presentation. There's been a lot. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through that, but I would like to focus on that more because I was not able to get too many examples of just the game sense part. But obviously, if there are gonna be any other big thing we can think about, I will mention that as well. Or if there are gonna be any questions as well, let me know. Well, let's just start with that review. Okay, I think it's right here. Okay, my game's open, should be all good. And yeah, you guys can post your questions in the chat as usual. I will keep track on those on my second monitor. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So this is the replay. The name is, I actually missed the name. Let me find it again. Okay, so it's gotta be this. Noob Master. Here we go, Magic. We actually done a lot of Magic reviews, surprisingly, quite a lot of Magic players at the moment, and I think this is one of the best characters in terms of carry potential. You can do quite a lot, and it's not getting banned, to be honest, too. You see a lot of just bans on Bruce Banner, maybe Groot or Iron Fist, or also Torch, obviously. A lot of more meta characters, but I think those Magic, and for example, maybe for other roles, something like Thor for tank or for support. Not sure actually. Well, maybe Adam, for example, which is pretty decent too. It's not getting banned a lot, to be honest, but they have.
I guess
Yep.
my guess the only reason for why they don't really ban Magical that much is because they're able to kind of like use the fact that she can't really like go like upwards like basically like they already have or know of a way to actually counter her without actually banning her.
Yeah, that's all
That's
right.
probably
That's
a
all
more
right.
guess.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, mainly the reasoning is prep definitely is one of the most important is the meta, but also the higher you go, the more people pay attention to is what kind of tinker position you got, what kind of
Hmm.
tinker position you expect from the enemy, so we can pick the character accordingly. And the last variable is actually the map. If the map is allowing you to do something on the field just more comfortably with your character, for example, the magic, we really like short sidelines, we like enclosed spaces, so we can get in safely. And I think that let's just look at the parts of the magic. I don't know, Noob Master, are you here? Goose, are you here? What kind of part you want me to
Yeah.
review? Do you want me to review Star-Lord or magic? What do you think?
So more swords like the second round. I guess I was just struggling there the most because the first one we kind of did well. Like they kind of like yeah around there. I had more deaths there.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So look at the second part. It seems like you're playing Star-Lord here, right? Let me see. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there? Do you want to focus on Star-Lord then? It seems I've been misled by the preview a little bit because I was assuming there's magic. But yeah, anyway, you want to look at the Star-Lord, Hala? What do you prefer?
From point of view, more like yeah, towards like the beginning when I started playing Hella a little bit back. Yeah, I started swapping from there.
Of course, of course. Okay, let's do quick overview on Hala again. With Hala, you don't have too much mobility, but your range is pretty decent, so that is something what we gotta keep in mind. And I definitely think you can take advantage of those off angles quite a lot. Yeah, what off angle is the position away from your core. If you know where the rest of your team is, you can take those off angles quite frequently, and your mobility, basically this ability here allows you to do so. We can use it to set up on the angle, but we can also use it as an escape if something goes wrong a lot of times. And your ability, the stun, also allows you to stay in the angle a little bit longer, in my opinion. So that is something to keep in mind. And yeah, let's just start with the Hala. Let's keep going. Maybe there are gonna be any questions. We will cover those, but it's gonna be really a brief review. If we're talking about the game sense, just thinking about what you gonna be looking for a lot, and you can solve the mechanics, you can solve your positioning because of that too. I'm thinking if you are taking the angles, you might be thinking about who will take angles with you on the enemy team. That's what I suggest usually. So press tab, check what kind of characters will do that. Most likely we'll expect enemy Hala 100% do the same, or Iron Man as well. And I think you can deal with both. By the way, Mantis is another one which we can expect. They just don't have as much mobility, so you may not see them on the same angle quite frequently. But I'm definitely thinking, how do you deal with angles? What are you going to be doing is so important. We actually see you use your mobility right away, kind of just poking down the main. Yeah, maybe there's a time we can just try to invest and set up. Let me see. Maybe even this, I'm thinking if I know the fight breaks in really soon, maybe what if I'm not using my ability here, which is usually good, but if the fight is gonna happen really soon, what if I position myself on some sort of high ground over here, like top left, just creating a more better sight. And I'm also expecting somebody to maybe contest you here. That's what I think. Yeah, get better angle control if possible, because you can always choose to drop to this position where you are. By the way, mechanically, because I imagine, well, a lot of people, they ask about this, is how to get better mechanics. Well, generally speaking, if you have better position as well, it allows you to get better shots too. For example, if those guys are just distracted with the rest of the core here, they're gonna be strafing just like that, left and right. And if we're taking those more 90 angles, so if I position at A while my team is at B, creating this more 90 angle of attack, in theory, this allows you to hit more shots. It's easier, and obviously your shots are not going to be blocked by the shields. Like here we can see Emma Frost maybe using the shield, but it's not as big, so something to keep in mind. Anyway, yeah, good attention on that Iron Man though. That is what we got to deal with. I think you're so good at dealing with angles, and let's just kind of have this overview a little. Maybe I would like you to also potentially deal with that, right? But how you could be doing that is because you just already would be sitting here and see it. Maybe taking advantage of your stun ability as well would be great. You kind of go in here eventually. This is great. But just putting attention towards those angles, securing that first would be great. You know, there are kind of 3 steps you gotta think about. Take the position, make sure in control of the position, anybody who is contesting you here, and later on we can just use that position and shoot for free. Anybody who you wanna pressure in general, to be honest. So this is what I'm thinking right away. Well, it seems that we have to give up the position a little bit because you're missing your HP, right? I like that you're keeping the angle option. Just seems we have to search for the HP pack and just get healed eventually. And from here, I'm thinking, again, once the ultimate wears out, what is your off-angle option? Yeah, maybe where I can go, so just not exactly staying the rest of the core here, but doing something else, controlling space. This is what I would like you to do more. Maybe contest those guys. This is gonna be 2v1 situation, but if we just use the mobility, go to the corner, then it's gonna be great. You will have enough safety, and your supports will also have line of sight on you. And generally speaking, those are more important positions for us to deal with. Even though you have big advantage, they still can manage to turn around the fight. Yeah, you don't like the enemy off angles sitting there a lot of times as hell, I think. You just want to make sure you're in control of those first. Maybe make it harder for this Hala to use the ultimate. Yeah, the part about the game sense as well. We can predict what kind of abilities and ultimates they have, so you can put more attention on those guys too. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, not just general positioning, but also their abilities and ultimates. It can just give you direction of what you're trying to achieve, I think. Yeah, good at shutting down the Iron Man here. Right, we are on the angle, by the way, that's great. You see this while you, because your team is at A and we position B, it just creates so much pressure and you divert the enemy attention. At the same time, mechanically, it's so much easier for you to do the shots, to be honest. So this is great. By the way, any of you guys have questions about this? Maybe just so far, contest the angles, that's what we got. Use corners to allow you to do that. Have 3 steps in control and space. Take control, use the position, that's what I would say. Yeah, I like your attention here. Yeah, well, nice, so shutting down. They kind of come from the one angle here on the left, so it's much easier, I think. What's your angle option can be at this point? Because they starting to reposition, right? This is going to be slightly different. Let's just look at this now. And I'm even thinking, what if, when we challenging this, what if we're still sitting here? Or what if we're even just trying to lean towards... well, this side of the map seems uncomfortable. I'm not sure about this ledge because it's a little bit open, but maybe at least statue angle. Yeah, use it as a cover initially, maybe. You can... just try to experiment with that. It's not that you have to think about the exact spots. I'm just thinking, because you playing away from your core, you will avoid things like that, especially the fact given we know this ultimate is coming in. We also know the Manta is coming in. Again, more games and stuff. I'm predicting, and based off that, I don't have to react. I can just position myself accordingly, because they will, yeah, they exactly will do the ultimate most likely, and because of that you have to give up the position. Really like you to be here as well. I think you're able to stay up in those positions. By the way, there's interesting spot up here too, if you're just looking for something interesting once the fight develops over here, stuff like that. But this general pressure, I like the target priority. It just can be more deliberate. Yeah, you can be predicting stuff and at the same time position yourself, just contesting the angle. Is it worse holding here the closest spawn? Wouldn't it be hard to hold the high ground to the back right? Yeah, good question. It's all about the situation, because your positioning is about the context. If my team likes to take the fight real early in here, I think that's right. To be honest, you as a Hala, you're not long range character. You not like a sniper like Widow or Hawkeye. So I'm definitely thinking mid-range angles are fine. So if I have this range from here going to here while your team is fighting kind of this area, I think you okay-ish. But if my fight is here, then I can definitely take the position over here, or like over here, to be honest, because you still gotta keep in mind, even though your projectile is pretty fast, it's still projectile, so you can take advantage of that. And one more thing, you have a lot of abilities to allow you to stay in the angle. It just can be your stun, it can be just your opportunity to get away easily. So I would definitely abuse that too. It's just force them to push you. Make sure you contest the angle, force them to push you, and then later on you can place the ability, I think. I thought Hala was hitscan. Well, it's sort of like hitscan, but it's really fast projectile. Okay, let's keep watching. I think let's just get one more fight and then we can also review someone else. I know it's really brief, and typically in my sessions I also ask a lot of questions about the reasoning, decisions, so I wouldn't exactly know, well, what exact reasoning at all times, but it's just kind of general concepts you can apply anywhere, I guess. Okay, oh, seems like we lagged a little bit. Okay. Okay, so there's just general pressure on this angle here, just pushing the main. Okay, and now I'm thinking what your angle option can be. Maybe this even here, in my opinion. By the way, you would be clearing this beacon too, to be honest. It just allows you for better map control, just trying to get additional angle of attack, I'm thinking, and also get a read of something what can be on the angle. Like, again, yeah, just take the position, control that, and later on you can do something based on that too. Alright, I'm thinking, what if we move towards the other? So, generally speaking, as a summary, we got take control, use the position, make sure you look for angle control more. What is based on who do you expect on the angle, so you're going to be contesting those, and you also look at the ultimates, so you are able to also position yourself. Yeah, we can kind of bait the ultimates, we can also just anticipate what is gonna happen, you know, just in general, position ourselves too. Alright, let me see. Yeah, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I think that was misleading. Yeah, you're right. It's exactly, yeah, it's just some. I really sometimes with those characters, it's like for others. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of projectiles now. So yeah, this is hit scan. Yeah, the primary fire is hit scan. The right click is your projectile. But yeah, the point stays the same anyway. That's all right. So mainly why we keep in the medium range is based on your abilities, based on just how much burst you can do as well. That's why we can take those angles more frequently. Let's say I have less damage output as the character, or maybe it's just more continuous damage. I generally don't like those characters take deeper angles on the map. We usually trying to play kind of closer to our core, maybe try to take softer angles in a way. Okay, I'm thinking let's just spin the wheel again. Who do we got? We gonna remove fans, and we gonna, yeah, let's do it again. I will copy the names, and yeah, you got any questions, by the way, Goose? Do you have any?
Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, oh, okay, so everything's been clear, right? Alright, we got red. Red is the next one we will review. Let me find the name, the chat, actually. I'm just gonna go on. Where is that exactly? Is it in what have you here? Okay, I'm so bad at this. Okay, here we go. I found the name. We got Black Panther. They mentioned this is a close game but a loss. We had a weird team comment that tried to just kill the Jeff supports as much as possible as he was terrorizing my team. They had some Black Panther counters too, but nothing that ruined me. What could I have done differently to turn a close game like this into a win? Makes sense. Well, we definitely can look at the biggest things I noticed right away. Again, not maybe too much in depth, like full review, but still, we will take a look. Oh?
Is one. Focus on the third point.
Focus on the third point, sure. Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
Okay, let's do that quick. And your name is Rad Lols. Okay, here we go. Exit replay. Let's see. Well, for Black Panther, we definitely expect a lot of taking flanks, to be honest. It's just how much burst you can do, and see there's a constant theme. The more mobility you have in the character, and the more opportunity to burst an enemy, the more flanky you can be, to be honest. As a Hala, we don't flank too much, but you can do that, right? But you don't have as much mobility, so you cannot exist on those flanks all the time. As Black Panther, you can just exist on those angles quite frequently, I think. And your burst combos just allowing you to secure the kill, making sure, well, two most important things for you to look for, in my opinion, is not getting poked out as much, making sure we time the pressure. Yep, timing might be even the most important here. Okay, let's watch the third round. What do we got? Is it the same? Wait. Oh, okay. It's a different map. Okay, we got Wiz. Well, so just approaching the fight. Let me see what our rotation's been. So we also have Venom, and we also have Mantis with Hawkeye and Widow. Well, kind of interesting interesting comp. You got, yeah, there's a lot of poke potential, but at the same time I'm thinking your best bet is just making sure you dive together with the Venom, not necessarily focusing the same target, but at least take advantage of his dives, because he's gonna be distracting an enemy quite a lot, in my opinion. Cross is good, by the way. The
I
red
tried to
dot.
do that, but I'm gonna be honest, that Venom was on point with the thing.
Yeah.
Majority of the match, so I could not make use of the Venom, unfortunately, not much.
Yeah. So this is gonna be mostly, if this happens, the outside of your dive area, and then at least making sure
Yeah.
they go in and being active, and then because they draw some attention, you can utilize that as well. What is the rank of that lobby, by the way? Can you tell me?
Gold 1, Plat 3.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm D-ranked from Diamond 2, so
Yeah,
it's like previous peak diamonds, yeah.
I see it. Okay. I like the rotation in general. Yeah, we getting in, trying to just get on support. Seems that we just
I missed.
miss the combo. Yeah, but it's fine. To be honest, the intention is alright. Yeah, let's maybe just break down the
Local
intention
downs,
a little bit
speed
more. Yeah. So see, this is what we gotta look for. If my Venom is diving in just like that, they're doing something active, I think that's good enough for you to just go even more aggressive. And the best thing for you to watch out for is definitely his slam. When he slams in something, that is where you expect him kind of committing. It's not only about this kind of dash, I mean his swing, but also this slam over there, what happened. And this is exactly where you can fight. Maybe I would kind of not hesitate too much. Just as soon as you see the dive happen, you can try to dive in as soon as possible. So like just like that, yeah, we able to just see them doing something. I think that is good. But intention is fine. Yeah, time is relatively okay, to be honest. Yeah, missing the combos, what happens? It's
I go out, I go back in.
yeah. Okay, that's why we
team dies, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shield a bit.
we have to reset at this point, 100%. There's also might be kind of weird thing with if your team fights too early. I definitely think you gotta take a fight, but also invest the time the angle as much as possible. Yeah, you're just trying to get on the flank too. Well, from here, you have one of the best positions kind of being in the back, and we just need to make sure your team is approaching the fight. They go in first, and we should be alright. Yeah, let's watch. Wait, me when half of the wheel is gone? Wait, is it been so? Oh no, it's just only okay. It's just only one. I did put it once, but yeah, sometimes I can do that. Put the names twice. Right, let me see this actually. So this one is interesting because you not necessarily have to dive in together with your random sometimes. I'm thinking, well, just time the pressure, yeah, I was saying about that. You can also fight isolated targets pretty frequently, but what matters is how you do so. So I'm thinking here, if this happens, there's a lot about your trigger discipline and just making sure you able to secure all those combos. Yeah, I really like the patience on the first. Yeah, eventually we kind of miss the pressure, but why it happens is because
start shooting me rather than dash, but yeah.
yeah, but see, like all the mechanics, to be honest, you probably already know a lot of this, how to just be active, effective with this. So what I want you to think about is maybe anticipate what some of the enemies might do. Like we talked about the
Yeah.
games and stuff with Hela. For example, this here, what they can do to just avoid your shot or maybe disable you. Well, first off, the hook, that is something what you gotta watch out for. That they're not trying to hook us, so that's a good thing. But you see, the other thing is his dash, right? So when I'm approaching him, I'm trying to think about his defensive rotation, where he's gonna go. He can go this way, he can go this way, he can go this way, or like anywhere, basically. There's like a spectrum. But generally speaking, where do you expect the enemy to go is based on two things. It's based on his team's line of sight, and it's also based on cover. Okay, so where he's gonna go, you can almost be perfect at just anticipating that. He will, generally speaking, he will try to go towards this, let's call it red arrow, because this is where his team's position to just be able to get any support, and he also can have some sort of cover like this here. He can always break line of sight with you, possibly, or maybe he will try to go like this way. So expect him sort of go to the left, but he instantly trying to aim to the right, which is maybe not the best prediction. Of course, you play against better players, they will try to anticipate that you anticipate things, and they also try to counter that play. But to be honest, just it's a good start if you're thinking about where they're gonna go and just secure shots later on. Yeah, that's what I mean by mechanics. It's not just about hit the shot, yeah, it's just the game sense part. Yeah, now we missed the our engage a little bit. We have to disengage, it's fine. Okay, let me see the questions. Wait, no, we gotta do those before the class. I think this is the class itself. Yeah. I put a VOD in the submission. Yeah, well, it seems like we got too many people already. It's alright though. If you're gonna have any questions later, feel free to ask. It just seems like a lot of people now. Do I have to physically yank the turret away from you? Wait, well, I don't think it's related to me. Okay. Alright, let's keep watching. No questions, it seems. You can just tag me. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track on everything. The chat and my OBS sometimes it's not working properly. Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
I'm not.
see the Jeff is out of the ult. He is isolated from his team,
Yeah,
so I go for Jeff.
I'm just thinking, because we talked about the timing, just you choosing the best target. If you look at this, what do you think one of the best targets for you to choose based on the timing and just making it easy for you to do something here? What do you think? Is there the easier target for you to approach?
The thing, but it's also hooked to the support, I guess, the other support.
Yeah, because this is what I think too. Generally speaking, you're really good at just shutting down anyone who has low mobility. And those guys, Luna Snow, even though they can run away, those are going to be really good. Even this Cloak Dagger player too. Of course, they have some escape, but those are more stationary compared to Jeff, where Jeff have a lot of mobility and just can always go underground, which is going to be harder for you to follow up on. And see the additional rival too. This exactly happens now. Your Phantom is doing stuff, so you can synchronize the pressure with him. Yeah, maybe they're fighting the point. Yeah, but there's also you doing the same too. You have to just fight around this area. So I would look for this, or there's one more option. This guy is more isolated, so I can fight them too, and they're also pretty stationary. So again, just their mobility and the timing is something to think about quite a lot. And yeah, do some anticipation. What do you expect? Like this guy will go underground most likely and will dodge a lot of your stuff. So I'm not sure might be the best to like commit to it. Yeah, at least like just channel speaking wise, you definitely get a kill later on. Yeah, but still, I'm thinking maybe just go after those guys too, and they also kind of been stuck together too, so could potentially just go after both of them, make them panic a little bit more, force out the ultimate faster. Good finish in the kill. Okay, and we just, yeah, the fight's won. Okay, let's watch one more fight. Okay, I'm thinking, you got any questions about anything what I mentioned so far, or everything's been clear?
If the supports are hugging the thing, do I avoid that player because the thing just screws me, or do I try it anyways?
Yeah, to be honest, most of the time.
It's on Luna, but the thing is next to Luna. Do I still go on Luna?
Yeah. So to be honest, most of it is gonna be based on the timing and also how isolated targets are. So if you cannot find anyone isolated or stacked in no matter what, yeah, they just play really close. Well, in this case, look for the Venom diving. They will be doing something, right? At least something, yeah, if everybody's stacked in. And then look to dive in, just kind of bait the cooldowns. He will not commit for the kill, but you'll look for more self-dive approach, just for self-defensive, and later on you can maybe secure the dive too. That's what I'm thinking. Still, probably there will be isolated options to just fight for. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So it's not like avoid. Yeah, search for options. Options, timing, options, just isolate it as well. Maybe anybody who uses the ability. Seen this isolated target, by the way, yeah? Yeah, so like expectations again, yeah? I'm diving this. Obviously, first, I want you to read a scout for what your Venom is doing as well, so it's gonna be easier for you to implement. Seems like they're here, but this target is isolated, so it's sort of fine, yeah? We either fight when... Well, it's gonna be typically when you're exposed to multiple members of the enemy team too. We fight when the Venom is diving, or you just can fight isolated target whenever. And this is isolated, sort of, you fight, but we, again, forgot about his ability. He's trying to just disengage, and this is something maybe to practice thinking, yeah, where he's gonna go, but that's what I call trigger discipline. Yeah, it can be even with those projectiles, well, like with the big shots to your abilities. I'm taking my time to readjust my crosshair because I'm expecting something to happen, and then later on I can follow up on this guy later. Yeah, it's just gonna be so much easier for you to reposition your crosshair based on your expectations and better trigger discipline. You start as slow and good practicing the skill, but then later on you can build up the speed, to be honest. You can practice in a Doom match, that's what I recommend. Maybe practice in, I don't know, some other similar game mods. So also there's a practice range, you can practice with moving characters as well, this stuff. But yeah, this is something to keep in mind. Well, I'm trying to keep it really brief. Yeah, our summary is anticipation, timing, and also watch for options.
Teammates.
Yeah, like let's say timing, generally speaking, with tank, but it can also go on isolated targets whenever because you're so good at burst. But yeah, you gotta anticipate things no matter what for all of this as well, it seems. Yeah, I know it's really brief, but yeah, any questions so far or?
No, I think you covered it. It was really nice. Thank you.
Nice, yeah, no problem. If you want more in-depth advice as well later on, let me know. Maybe you want to do a review or something, that's okay. Yeah, let's speak another name. let's do it. Okay, 8 people left, and we got... Seems like we got Nara. Alright, perfect.
Yay.
Let's see, we got you on Bronze to Diamond channel, I believe. Okay, let me see.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna find the name. Here we go. Yeah, this is the code, and the rank is gold. Heroes played on Wiz, Luna, Loki, and its result is a win. No specific notes. By the way, guys, I'm not sure if the format changed, but if you can leave any specific notes, that's gonna be great. I think I kind of, yeah, like here, the notes, just something.
I did leave some notes, but it's just not like put in as notes. It's just under everything else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me see.
It's right
okay,
there.
sorry. Yeah, okay, I see. This was a super successful game. I think we captured 3 or almost 3, and Enemy did 1, almost 2. I did very little healing compared to my teammate, had a lot of deaths, very little damage, and just overall was useless. I know I played bad, but I just wonder what I could have done better. That's okay. To be honest, I would definitely think, and especially the rank given, is just how proactive you can be in doing something. So not necessarily just waiting for the action to happen, but thinking what you can force an enemy team to do. Again, thinking about anticipation, certain abilities, certain ultimates. Maybe the enemy will try to go in aggressive on you. Yeah, for example, you play Inviswoman or Luna, Loki, doesn't matter. You can always think about your abilities as passive value in a way. For example, if I position my clone as Loki somewhere on the off angle, like we mentioned on Hala, and they try to dive you when you're on off angle, this way you make them do something because you being so annoying for them, doing a lot of damage. And I'm thinking of support as one of the most important things. Of course, you have a lot of sustain in this game too, but I always emphasize this, and this is what I see the best results people getting if you're just able to make things happen. That's great. We got Nara bows. Okay, what character you want me to look at a little bit more? Invis, Luna,
I think
Loki.
I struggle more at the start of the game
Yeah, start of the game.
and like at the last part of our push.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we'll look at the start of the game, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Then it seems it's gonna be Invis Woman in this case, and with Invis Woman, you don't have too much mobility, but I'm still thinking about the ways to open up the angles so you're able to shoot the corners. Why shooting the corners is essential because I'm trying to heal more teammates, and at the same time, because they're always going to be breaking the corner, maybe try to turn the corner this way or something, you will also have an opportunity to hit the enemies, kind of multiple people this way, and this is nice in terms of just farming your ult charge and also creating more value in general with the damage and both healing. So I definitely would like you to kind of have this potential sharper angle. So for example here, if I pressure this area, maybe for me, the best way is try to, instead of playing here, I would like you, just depending on where the turn goes. If the turn goes left, I can go a little bit right and have the sharpest sideline, and at the same time keep in mind your range so you're able to shoot the corner a little bit more. So for example, if I do this, okay, I can see my teammate here, I can see the enemy as well, and this leads to high uptime, and you have your escapes too. You can just press space, get invisible, so I think it's alright. And of course, you also gotta keep in mind how you use your pull, or like pull in or pull out the enemy. It depends on the activity of the enemy, to be honest. But yeah, just I would like to, instead of moving forward or back, find a way to move left or right depending on where the turn goes. Okay, again, the turn goes left, I go right. The turn goes right, I go left to open up the sharper sideline. Yeah. Just anticipation where the fight's gonna happen. We're talking about the game sense. Yeah.
I
Right.
have an issue of not playing near cover, I think.
Cover is...
And I'm very out in the open.
Yeah, cover is another thing too. Yeah, it's kind of angle cover. If you watch some of the previous masterclasses, we talked about three things. It's called CAR. Okay, you gotta have cover, angle, and good range. And just watch what the character allows you to do. And to be honest, if I position, like for example here, I can use this as a piece of cover, maybe use payload slightly as a cover too, but even this room, just seeing any piece of cover you can abuse, to be honest, is always great. Yeah, but first off, how you being safe is through applying the pressure on the enemy team too. You see, it's just when we roll in, there's not too much taking advantage of your E, for example, right? But if you have that sharpest sideline, you're not only able to see the opportunities, but you're also able to just do more general pressure and healing, right? So what you're looking for is watch any activity on the enemy and try to disable that, basically, just depending on what they do. Your expectations, by the way, yeah, we talked about the contesting angles. I think that's one of your things as well. On a with women, maybe we can think about just pulling in someone who's diving us. Maybe there's I don't know, even it's gonna be Captain America, he's diving your backline and just mess up, he's engaged, you can just pull him in or like pull him out depending on what he does. Yeah, you can also pull this Storm, you can even pull someone like this Torch as well. It's just anything what does a lot of damage from the angle wise. I think it's great. Yeah, not necessarily just messing up the front line, right? But we kind of see you just not able to take that much advantage of the E, to be unfortunately. You do a lot of just good general pressure, right? But you just want a sharper sideline and take advantage of the E a little bit more, it seems, yeah? And you see how we kind of didn't take any damage to? This is usually one of the kind of good signs, big signs, that we're not maybe being as much proactive sometimes, because in reality, you want to get pressured as support. That's okay. Just make sure you do it within your cover. If you get pressured, then it means you force the enemy to do something towards you, and then you're using your defensive abilities to make sure you stay alive, yeah? I'm using my space, or maybe I'm using my E to just disable the enemy's pressure. That's what I'm looking for a lot, to be honest. Okay, let me open up the chat. Good Hala username. Let's see. Read my question. Wait, what was the question? Could you read? No, I cannot. I cannot read. All right. Okay, so what do we got? This fight. Well, this is a little bit annoying to just break through the choke, right? But especially in those cases, still opening up the sideline, I think, would be so great. Let me see what you've done with your pool as well. Yeah, it seems you're trying to mess up the engagement too. This is fine. Yeah, just seeing. Okay, they maybe dive in like my Wolverine. Maybe they grab something too. You can just make sure they stay in your position a little bit more. You know, it's a pretty nuanced thing, by the way, but something I could be thinking about is if I'm forcing something to happen, or like my teammates they force something to happen, like they just grab the Doctor Strange. What the Doctor Strange will try to do, they will use their shift and try to fly up. Similar in the way like we talked about that Bucky. Yeah, they're using their charge, their dash to just get away. And this is the similar thing you can expect. And see, maybe there's one cooldown being used, so your teammates use the cooldown now. They will answer with their own cooldown, so you can just punish this again. Yeah, your cooldown. You can once they use that. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe just misposition them later. Yeah, you don't have to stack the cooldowns too much, okay? And just can't keep the pressure kind of chain. It's like a chain, but you have to also make sure there's a commitment from them first. Yeah, because see, here you're using the pool, but they're not even committing to use the dash, the shift yet. Don't worry about me and Ironheart. Yeah, okay, I will not worry.
Later on, one of the enemies changed to Wanda.
Yeah.
And I never struggled against a Wanda, but I did against this one.
Yeah.
And she was putting so much pressure on me with this stupid team up. She just sucked me dry. Like, I don't know how to say it. Like, it was so annoying.
Yeah, I understand. Understandable. Yeah, well, partially, maybe, hopefully, this will help just expecting what the enemies might be doing and position to force things to happen, but then also think about your abilities so you displace them once they commit their cooldowns to their pressure in general. Yeah, that's what maybe I would think about. I know we kind of really just shortened the review, but I just mentioned so much stuff and I just really would like to do one more review. Maybe is there anything you want to ask just based on what I mentioned so far, ability wise? Yeah, I don't know, position, well, game sense, stuff like that. I mostly mentioned that.
I don't think there's anything else. I think you covered everything. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really brief again, but yeah, it's just one of the biggest things I noticed. Yeah, so our summary is definitely enable the pressure, disable, so what? Trying to position sharper sidelines, and when you position sharper sidelines, you make things happen, and when things are happening, you can disable the stuff with the E. And just depending on what the enemy do not stack your E with the other teammates right away, or like, yeah, just in general, we don't want to use it right away. Make sure there's a commitment first, and then disable the commitment. Cooldowns commitment, ultimate commitment, I usually would like to disable. By the way, if any of you guys wanna have a look at how the professional Inviswoman plays, I have a masterclass on support as well. We reviewed Saipe, and there was also a video on my YouTube channel. I did talk a lot about how to use the E. If you want to take advantage of that, feel free to watch, feel free to just, yeah, use the links. It's all on Class and Drills or my YouTube as well. It's more edited, so you can watch it there. Okay, yeah, let's just do one more. I'm gonna exit the replay. Let's see, we gotta remove this here, and one more spin. Let's do it. Okay, we got gun. Now we actually got it. Alright. Now we will go into the bronze 2 diamond. I believe any notes you want to leave, by the way. I see there kind of notes. I remember you kind of mentioned stuff about the mechanics. We, quickly addressed that.
It's yeah, a lot. Yeah, it was on. A lot of it was just more of because I know Charlie and Sam was mainly more kind of like somewhat pounding into me, and what metaphorically speaking, in the sense of like trying to take corners and angles more, and just try to preserve my life more. And that's kind of what I was, I guess, trying to see about doing, is I'm just kind of wanting like your input in it as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, by the way, did you have an opportunity to implement the feedback the other coaches gave you, and how that went?
So far, I actually have been playing. I've been doing Kovacs and also been playing. Been also doing. Been playing hella in quick play just to kind of like to get more util and actually like kind of help I guess train my I guess like train myself to do corners more. So and also not use to not use his turret as much.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of being patient with that, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's kind of what I've been trying to do.
Okay, okay, good to hear. Yeah, I definitely think if you have able to get a lot of value out of the turret again, thinking about the passive value you can get, just trying to set up first, maybe force things to happen, and then later on I can just shut down a lot of pressure with the turret. But the tricky thing is you gotta keep the range because you're
Mhm.
pretty long range character, mid to long range, and that's why we gotta keep the distance between you and the enemy. To be honest, just making sure that you're able to clean the space. We'll keep it this way. If you want a simple answer in your position, you need that long to mid-range sideline, we're able to do continuous damage. So if you
Yeah.
just have the corner, which allows you to do so, I think try to take it. And we also anticipating what the enemy comp does. I think it's a big thing to just keep in mind. For example, here we see they have a lot of stationary stuff, but at the same time, there is Loki who likes to take an angle sometimes, and also Hela. And well,
Mhm.
this as well, the I forget the name, Wanda, yeah, they also like to take an angle sometimes too, so make sure you get rid of those. So later on you can probably do more pressure with the turret. But let's see, this is quite... Oh, by the way, any part of the map you interested in more, or we just start with here right away?
Just go ahead and just do like almost like literally the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Just
Okay, okay. Yeah, just keep in
just do the
mind
whole
it's probably
thing.
gonna be, yeah, not the entire,
Yeah,
but
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
that's alright. So
If you want to skip like boring parts, then go right ahead.
that's okay. That's okay. I think every part is exciting. Let's watch it. Okay, we got... This is gonna be just our long range sideline at the start. There maybe not too many angles for you to take, but then later on, I'm thinking, where else we can go, what we can do with our position. To be honest with you, if I'm looking at this and if I'm thinking my teammates are taking the fight here and those guys are really deep, to be honest, what if we just try to establish the pressure on the long to mid-range sideline, which looks like this, maybe, yeah? Maybe I can just go over here and even set up the turret while having the cover near as well. It's just taking an off angle with continuous damage opportunities, just doing the general pressure on this open area. I think that's going to be quite good a lot of times because you have the mobility, you have the opportunity to just set up the zip line or something, yeah? Just be careful when you're setting up it in an aggressive
Yeah,
way,
I
but yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to get at least some value out of the team up out of that team up. So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So see, I want you to try to experiment with not necessarily starting out with just the main, poking down from the main, but maybe try to think about the map control first, and then later on you can also stack on the main, because the reasoning, abuse the team up, if it's already here, it's good, but what if we set up on the angle and abuse the team up from there? Like, I've watched a lot of high rank players, they would just go on the angle, and this rocket would maybe just use the team up on you. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what is gonna even give more value. You stay in the main, just waiting for the opportunity, which I don't think is the best idea because we're not controlling the other teammate, right? But you can always try to go deeper and try to abuse the fact that you're creating the proactive value, just forcing things to happen, and then maybe Rocket will support you, maybe not. But in any case, you can start on the angle and then later on see, okay, the team up you can take advantage of, then yeah, sure, you can maybe go back. But I'm definitely thinking just right away I would like it to swing left a little bit more. If you see the enemy team is holding pretty close, if we can say, oh well, this the guys are doing this, well, what if I go here? Or later on I can also try to go somewhere to the right side a little bit more. But yeah, it's understandable, the team up's pretty strong. But just let's see, we got this main sideline going, and see, this is a big thing, it's just your damage can be blocked too, and we not taking advantage of the turret. So I'm definitely thinking,
it's kind of one of those things. It's well, yeah, there you go.
yeah,
It's kind of it's because a while back, at least like for the last the lower elo class, I know Charlie and Sam basically and like a lot, I think like a few of the other coaches basically kind of noticed that I was doing a lot of like trying to like find like certain spots to kind of set up the turret just to kind of like do a lot of like damage to try to power just to get my ult back up like when it comes to like tanks and whatnot.
Yeah, makes
And
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, so they told you kind of, well, don't use the turret right away. But what I would say is, it's not just using your turret right away. It's not all about that. It's just about setup first, and then see what are you able to do with your current position. Because your setup, it creates a lot of passive value and make things happen. Like, you maybe see the enemy team try to reposition, or maybe they try to just hold the same position, but then you can take advantage of your turret and while staying on the angle. So we can hold on that too, but yeah, you just not using it right away. It's not just engage right away. You gotta have this flow of setup, engage after, setup, engage after, setup, engage after. Yeah. So go in with, if you, any of you guys played the games like Overwatch, for example, there's a Bastion. It's kind of similar to turret. Is similar to Bastion's turret, and to be honest, if you're able to get a nice angle on those characters with a lot of continuous damage and burst, just go do that and then set up the pressure from there. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking there's just kind of a lot of leaning towards playing the same angle the main. We like you to set up somewhere else, create more passive value, force the enemy to do something towards you, and then use the turret if it's needed. Yeah, think we talked about the Invis-Woman, okay? The best analogy. Enemy makes a commitment, I can pull the enemy in or out. So in your case, it's gonna be I'm using the turret based on the enemy commitment. They make a commitment by walking forward, maybe using some of their abilities like Root Walls, he's gonna be out of the cooldowns. I use the turret. Yeah, so it's not right away, I'm waiting for commitment, but I start with the angle first. I'm thinking, yeah, so this is definitely just a lot of the same, probably. If you guys stuck in choke, I really would like you to swing left, to be honest. Yeah, once we kind of do that, it seems. You see, shift is something what allows you to do so consistently too. Yeah, invest your abilities and setup first, and later on you can also use those as an escape too. Don't just hold on the abilities. Yeah, it's like it's not black and white. Hold or use the abilities. Just set up, create more power, passive power, and then use the abilities. Oh, what's that? Sorry.
oh yeah, he already muted his mic.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me see. There's any questions? She's good recommended to learn with because after every show. Okay, it's not addressed to me. But yeah, see, this is what will happen a lot of times, to be honest. If you kind of stuck in this main angle, it's because a lot of damage coming your way where most of your team is doing stuff. It's going to be difficult. Well, of course, some coaches would say as well, use cover. Yeah, that's right. But I also think there's even bigger problem. If I go on the angle and use cover, then it's going to be even greater. Yeah, not sure. Well, this part of the map is interesting. I'm not sure where can you go next. I will be definitely not going inside the room like this, but maybe even thinking about something sneaky. This is what I would maybe potentially challenge you with. If your team is trying to time the pressure here, maybe can also set up more aggressive angle of pressure by swinging all the way to the right, but it's going to be a harder thing to do and requires really good discipline and obviously playing cover too. Yeah, let's just maybe have another part of the map real quick. What do we got? It's just the same part of the map, maybe just one more fight. Yeah, let's just once the points captured. It's definitely hard with linear maps, I think, if there are not too many angles to take, but yeah, just do that first. Your shift is kind of sitting there, right? Even when I'm getting out of spawn, well, what I can do to just set up? Yeah, exactly, here you go. Set up, and then later on, you can get on the angle. Maybe because your shift is so long cooldown, I would like you to just direct yourself to the potential angle you can take. I don't know, maybe walk here, or, yeah, I think this here is good enough, especially if you notice your team is kind of dying. Yeah, later on, you have to fall back, but just direct yourself to the some sort of off-angle position. Long range, continuous damage. Long range, continuous damage. From here, zero continuous damage almost. Yeah, we almost shooting the walls, the shields, so it's tough. And you're also setting up the same angle with your Hawkeye, which is not ideal too. There's also the try to take crossfire with the high burst characters. This Hawkeye high burst character, they don't like take angle. Well, that's on them. You can try to take different angle crossfire. So the enemy team will have to look in two directions now. Okay, so what do you say when your team is getting pushed back, you shoot turret? This can be so, but you have to be careful with what you mean by getting pushed back. I would just look for the enemy team commitment. It is based on their position, based on the cooldowns. Cooldowns is the biggest, to be honest. If you're able to track cooldowns, like Root Wall is used, perfect. I can probably just try to melt them a little bit more. Yeah, so it's always, they use the cooldown, I shut down them with my own cooldown. Just read what kind of cooldowns you need to shut down. What... are you getting better cooldown trade? Let's put it this way. Yeah, how do you know if you get better cooldown trade? Look at the timers. Yeah, for example, if you have something like 18 seconds cooldown and you trade 3 cooldowns, which are in total, if you just plus summarize all those cooldowns, gonna give you like 20 plus seconds, then it's gonna be better cooldown trade, yeah, because I have only 18 seconds. I always view it this way. Obviously, there are also some other layers, but it's one of the most simple one. If you're also talking about just starting with a general, I don't know, like silver, gold, yeah, just more general stuff, to be honest, you can always think about the cooldown trade. This is more of a general question, but something I've been struggling with is whole push and pull sense. How do I go about practicing something like that to master it? You need to pay attention. This is where the game sense part. Yeah, you need to pay attention to the kill feed. You need to press tab. You need to anticipate things as well. Anticipation trains by, well, where do I expect the enemy to be? What kind of abilities I expect them to use? What kind of ultimates I expect them to use as well? And position yourself so you're able to answer the push and pull accordingly. If I have more ultimates available, I can go deeper. If I have less ultimates, I usually trying to position more defensive and trying to give up the space later on if the enemy is using something. And yeah, usually the best bet is start with numbers and ultimates being used, so it's active tempo. Okay, this is what I also probably gonna talk about in the next classes. Active tempo, what is being used right now, so I can adjust depending on the situation. If my teammates using ultimate and it's 6v6 fights, a 6v6 fight, then I can push in a little bit more, take advantage of that. Yeah, not necessarily, maybe, let's say, depending on your character, like Punisher, you don't have to walk forward, but you can just open up the angle more aggressive way. And that's what you gotta look for. Yeah, do I play fast because we have a big advantage based on the numbers and ultimates being used, or do we have a disadvantage? If you do have a disadvantage, you kind of hold the position, or you just give up space. I think that's what we gotta think about a lot of times. Okay, your teammates using the ultimate. By the way, you also got this space from the Rocket Raccoon. Maybe something to take advantage on later on. I'm thinking.
Honestly, I actually didn't even know it. I didn't even realize I even
Yeah.
had that.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm
see,
being honest.
I would really like you to, like, what if you just quickly position here, use a turret. I also see there's pretty interesting things you can do sometimes when you have the ultimate. For example, I can just use my shift, quickly use the ultimate, do a lot of burst, yeah, because you reposition yourself so quickly, the enemy team will have a lot of time to react. Like here, again, setup, maybe even go here. This is one that, yeah, close range, but you have a lot of support here, so I can just disable them, play cover, so you're not over peaking. It's gonna be those structures, I think you gotta be careful about, and make sure your team is pushing, do the turret. Maybe you also get a team up set up here, which is even greater, but even if not, I think there's always greater value compared to just stacking value down the main. Even with the team up, I'm not a big fan of stacking, to be honest. Even with the team up, don't think it's getting you too much value if you're just waiting for that. Kind of just map control first, and if team up happens, then maybe I can drop. But yeah, I think just go in for the better setup first. Okay, I think we should be done almost. Maybe are there any final questions? There's been brief reviews, 15-20 minutes. Well, actually managed to do 4. So we spent 15 minutes on each. That's good. Maybe any questions about anything? I know I did talk a lot about whatever I just mentioned, the biggest stuff. There can be a lot of layers to what I mentioned. And, you know, usually with the sessions, I really like to, typically I don't like to do a lot of talking. I just like to lean towards one theme and break it down multiple bullet points and ask the questions about bullet points. But because those are just more of a me talking format, community what reviews, I hope that also some of this makes sense. So you can take advantage of that anyway. Because if there's, because there's a lot of info, I mentioned quite a lot. Just make sure you write down your own notes and practice everything what I mentioned step by step. There's a lot of good stuff in terms of just your uptime. Yeah, I see you also taking advantage of your team's abilities. Like the team up, for example, is great, but yeah, proactivity. Please, like anyone, if you wanna take advantage of just climbing more, proactivity is the key. Solve your playmaking part first, and safety later. There's always like black and white with a lot of advice I see sometimes. They tell you, oh, you're being too aggressive, you gotta play safe, or like you're playing way too safe. But to be honest, what if you being a playmaker, being proactive with your own positions, and then you also can be safe at those positions too by using cover, using line of sight, using your abilities, tracking their abilities, tracking their ultimates. Yeah, to solve proactivity first. It also makes it easy for you to just make mistakes and see what's working and whatnot. Yeah, experiment, do mistakes. This is the essentials. You have to, if you're trying to climb out of any low rank, especially, and well, even if you're a high rank player, so important. Take advantage of proactivity first. No matter what somebody tells you. Yes, cover important. Yes, also holding ability is important. But what's the purpose? Yeah, proactivity. Okay, our summary for this is gonna be: take the angle. Commitment happens from the enemy. You will be using your big stuff, big cooldown, like your truth, for example. Take advantage of your shift to be able to set up and use those mid-range sightlines to long sightlines with continuous damage opportunities. Yeah, kind of sharper sightlines in the way we talked about the Invis woman. So, for example, here, if I pressure this way, the enemy will hide around the corner this way. But if I have this sightline, it will take more time for the enemy to hide, which gets me for the high uptime and pressure more of those people. That's what I think. Okay. Is there times when you can off angle a Spanish, or he's kind of always in the main? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should off angle. You should off angle, but make sure it's a mid range, or sorry, a mid to long range angle with the continuous damage opportunities. You don't have to stack main. You have general rule is the more mobility you have on the character, the deeper angle you can take. Look at your range as well. So your shift is insane mobility tool. Allows you to set up. Yes, you have to be careful with the shift, yeah, because it's a long cooldown, but maybe before the fight we can kind of set up, take advantage of your team ups, just the abilities as well. Like Rocket gave us this jump thing. Okay, I can go on the angle without using my ability even, which is great. Or maybe I can just walk there, that's fine. Yep, you also need your cooldowns later on when commitment happens. Remember, commitment towards me, I use my offensive stuff or defensive depending on what I need. Yeah, push and pull, flow as well. We'll keep that in mind. Okay, any questions? I see someone ping me. This is more of a general question. Oh yeah, I answered that. Okay, maybe any other questions you guys got? Anything you can ask me.
Right now, no.
No questions. Okay. Proactivity, the basic for anybody. You guys, if you joined late, the best thing you guys can take advantage of. Okay. If you don't have any questions, as usual, I will
I
upload.
have a question.
Oh, question.
If so, I play mainly Panther, but I do flex all roles and a lot of characters, and sometimes I play Hela, right? And I love to off angle, but my healers are not always aware of what I'm doing, right? And I will use my shift to go back to my team to cover, to run away, right? And they will take forever to heal me, and sometimes it will get me killed. And
Right.
I get so annoyed going on the off angle, getting a kill, running away, and then I don't get topped off and I die to some random shot that randomly hits me, right? And eventually I just give up and I just sit on top of my healer because they do have like no awareness.
Yeah. This is common
What do I
problem.
do in those situations? Do I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
stay on the healer or do I keep doing what I'm doing?
Yeah, this is common problem, and I see this question asked all the time. So again, how you want to go about this is this. So first off, I have my teams brushing. Let's say they're brushing from this A angle. Then there is also B angle. Your off angles is somewhere like, for example, position C and position D. Yeah, you're trying to attack from those sides of the map. Okay. First challenge is like how to solve the safety. Safety is not all about your supports, yeah, like your strategy is healing you, but first off is how do you use cover. Okay, let's maybe make it bigger. Okay, it's just how do you use cover, and also what are the HP packs on the map. Also your timing is going to be crucial. Yeah, maybe abilities, yeah, let's say cooldowns being used. And see, what I want you to think about is when you're doing all of that, do you have this first of all, and also look at the line of sight too. What is happening if I'm not getting healed? Well, I'm using this first, and in addition, I suggest just use communication will and ask for healing. If there's no healing, then this is your best bet, first off. But we really would like to see, are you able to time the pressure? Are you able to also look at the HP packs comfortably? Because you should be able to. And another thing is, I can stay on the angle, not necessarily going back to my position A, like a lot of the people do. They would just go back to the position A and give up their position completely. They're thinking, oh, that's safe, that's where supports will heal you. But to be honest with you, and you probably will see that a lot, even though you fend back to the angle because support awareness is not as high. It's not like they're gonna heal you harder or something, and it's just they're not noticing you. But well, this happens. Just this solving first, and your angles. This is what I wanted to say. Don't have to go back to A, but think about how do you rotate on your angle. So if I'm at position C, what if I go to position C1 and rotate on my angle depending on how the flow of the fight goes? If A pushes more deeper, I can take C2 position more aggressively. If the fight goes not as well, maybe I can position on C1. Kind of keep control under your lane, for your lane. So for example here, I can potentially position here and be really aggressive if I play melee character like Magic and try to contest this. But you don't want to fall back this way towards your team. What if you fall back on the angle this way and just maintain your sideline? And also, obviously, trying to search for HP pack options, cover, timing. And meantime, ask for healing as well. Communication will. You don't want to, just because you are not getting healed, compromise your position. This is really bad. I'm not gonna lie. In any game like Overwatch, I'm coaching a Tracer player. I'm coaching I don't know, any other flanker. Maybe taking more off angles. Maybe Kiriko or somebody else. This is not a good thing. If you just giving up the position because something is your support's not healing you, it's not ideal. You should still find ways to do that. Obviously, the higher you go, the more advantage there will be as well with the healing. You will get healed faster. I can guarantee by myself as well. I do play a lot of flankers too. I understand what you mean, but you gotta use the map control first, solve the safety with those variables which we mentioned. So important. Remember, we have to make things happen. If you play on the main with your team, you're not making things happen too. Maybe you don't have the best bat to pressure. But by the way, let's put it this way, when we on the angle, our question is how effective our pressure is too. Because, to be honest with you, the damage output is going to be higher compared to healing output in the long term. You, generally speaking, going to be able to out-damage something and get a kill. Okay? So, I will always want you to pay attention. How do you do your own pressure? So, maybe because you do your pressure better, you don't even have to get healed in the first place. Sort of. But let's say I get a pick. Okay. And then later on you have bigger advantage. So your trade of HP, even though you're not getting healed, it's still worth a lot. It's just with how you did put damage. And that's what we've seen in your Black Panther, for example. How effective your pressure has been. Solve that. Solve the safety with cover and everything too. But proactivity first. Hopefully that makes sense. That does make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, then I think that's it. That's beautiful explanation. Thank you. Question. Okay, the last one, and I'm gonna go really soon. I seem to keep panic using my movement healing abilities a lot of time. When playing Sala, I pretty much always use my E after dash, even in cases if I don't want to waste it. I seem to do that completely unconsciously too. Exactly, unconscious. We are consciously use something. That's why best thing is predict stuff, anticipate stuff, see what abilities they got, ultimates, who will contest you, who will try to just damage you, and then you don't have to react. You will anticipate with intention using your abilities. I'm thinking this is one of the best things right away, what I can come up with. Anticipate. So all of the other things we also talked about was how you contest on the angle, move, and use the line of sight and everything too. Okay, that's it. I have to take a break because there's gonna be another session really soon. But you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I will be glad to answer. And we should be all set. The recording is gonna be on the website as usual and will be uploaded really soon. All right, bye everyone. I'm glad to see everyone here today, and we'll have next masterclass on Monday again. Bye everyone. Good luck.
All right, thank you for the games. Yes, sir.